What's up guys, it's Meg and welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we are reviewing the latest episode of Fear the Walking Dead. It's season 3, episode 3, called Teotwawki, which is the end of the world as we know it. Oh my gosh, you guys, Daniel is back! I would scream louder, but there's people like everywhere here listening to me. I am so flipping excited, you guys. If you did not watch the very end of, if reaction videos are not your thing, at least go watch the very end of my reaction video, because I cannot tell you how shocked and excited and happy and shocked I was that he is back. Oh my god, you guys. He is my favorite character. I'm so excited for next week's episode 2. Episode 4, it really looks like it's going to be all about how he made it out alive and what he's been going through while we've been watching everyone else. Like, how freaking amazing is that? We not only find out that he's alive, but we get to discover just how he survived. Oh my gosh. And I will probably be doing another little, it'll be a short video, kind of like a predictions video, but not really. I just want to talk a little bit about the promos I've seen. I have a couple points I want to make, but let's get into this review. I don't want to take too long. I loved the start of this episode. It started out with Jeremiah Otto and his VHS tapes on how to survive the end of the world as we know it. Turns out his little ranch is doing so well because he was a prepper. He was a survivalist, doomsday prepper, whatever you want to call it. And we see his kind of perfectly edited video at the beginning. And I loved that later when Jake, I believe is his name, tried to make Madison watch the actual tapes, she ended up watching one of the tapes that had all the outtakes on it, and we got to see a different side of Jeremiah. He looked like a very angry man. He called Troy, as a young child, a sniveling idiot. We see him screaming at his wife that she wants to go have a drink. Like, we just see a very kind of more violent, angry side of him, and you're kind of like, whoa, this guy seems really nice now. What is his deal? Turns out that he has a darker side to him. And I liked that also throughout the episode we see him and Madison interacting, and we discover that they are more alike than, than they know, or I guess they're coming to realize that they're more alike than they knew. It turns out that the little back history here is that Jeremiah had 2 wives. His first wife and him had Jake, the older son, the normal son. It kind of sounded like they had a more normal marriage. Then he remarried Troy's mother, and she was an alcoholic. And I think they said that he hinted at himself also being an alcoholic as well. And that Troy, obviously, Troy had suffered the consequences of having 2 parents who did not give a shit about him. At least that's what it appeared. And then also it really messed him up having to take care of his mother as she was dying. And later, I just wanted to point out that later in the episode, when Jeremiah is showing Madison the giant storehouse of like amazing amounts of supplies for survival, he says that I broke Troy in that old world. In this new one, he has a purpose. And the fact that he openly admits that he makes allowances for Troy because he's the reason Troy is the way he is. And that really hints at a lot of backstory there and reasons why Troy is the way he is. And Madison starts out this episode where she finds Troy laying in Nick's bed, and she thinks he's Nick at first and then realizes he's not. She feels threatened by him. Basically tells him to stay away from her family, blah, blah, blah. You guys watched it all. But by the end of the show, she does this really funny thing where she goes over and she doesn't sit with her family. She sits with Troy, and she sits down next to him, and she places a napkin on her lap, and she places a napkin on his lap. And I at first you're kind of like, what is going on here? But then you realize that he almost needs a mothering touch. He maybe craves that mother in Madison, and that's why he kind of chose her to begin with, because he kind of needs that. And I think that her being a school psychologist, she has this training where she kind of is able to read people more, and she was able to, she sees now, knowing after she's talked to Jeremiah, she knows kind of a bit about why Troy is the way he is, and now she kind of knows how to deal with him better. And I think this is kind of her way of keeping him in line and keeping him in check. back by getting closer to him in that motherly way. Not gonna lie, it was kind of creepy though. Let's move on. We have Alicia making new friends, and I just loved this. I absolutely loved it because it seemed like, you know, she's going to meet these new kids. She doesn't want to go. It's a Bible study. She's not interested in this. But little does she know, when she gets there, it's actually just a bunch of regular teenagers having fun, smoking, drinking. They have a pet walker head, which I thought was really hilarious. Perfect for a bunch of kids who don't really know what it's like out there. I thought that was interesting because nobody who has been surviving out in it, living in it day to day, fighting to survive, would ever keep a walker head as a pet unless you're a psychopath like the governor. You know, normal people wouldn't, but these kids have been here on this compound for a while. And if you watch the Talking Dead, I didn't catch it during the show, but they had said that a lot of them had grown up there on that ranch. Well, the apocalypse is only a couple months in. So these kids must have been there for a long time. Like this place that Jeremiah had was more like a kind of like a commune, like a doomsday prepper commune type thing, where there had been people living there even before the end of the world, you know, as we know it, started. This whole zombie apocalypse started. So these teenagers have not had an opportunity to go out there and see these walkers up close, fight for survival, see people they love die. They haven't been through any of that. So I think if they had, they probably wouldn't have had a pet walker head there. But regardless, it was pretty funny. Kudos to Fear the Walking Dead producers and writers and all those people for deciding to do that. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So she's made some friends, she's fitting in. We also have Nick, who goes on the boar hunt with Troy, and I thought this was very interesting because these two both hate each other, but maybe they find that they have something more in common than they realize. You know, they don't trust each other. But Nick goes out on this boar hunt, okay, and he grabs Troy. He's about to actually kill him, I think, threaten him. And then he does this thing where he fakes him out. I mean, Troy thought he was gonna kill him too. And he fakes him out and he shoots right next to his head, and then he jumps up and starts ripping up Troy's beloved journal with all his scientific data in it. And you think that Troy's gonna just lose his shit over it, but instead, they both start laughing like maniacs, like they're both crazy, and laughing about it. And then Troy says, "I think we can be friends now." And I thought, wow, you gotta have two messed up kids to end that moment with, "I think we can be friends now." I just thought that was so weird. We have Lucy. I wanted to touch on Luciana as well. Luciana has not had a chance to experience this ranch at all, but she knows what Troy's people did, and they basically gunned down her entire community at the border, which was a terrible thing. She can't forgive it. Madison doesn't, I don't think Madison knows that that's what happened, but everyone else, including Nick, kind of wants to stay at the ranch because Nick wants his family to all kind of survive together and be in the same place together. I don't think he wants to be separated from them again, but at the same time, he wants to be with Luciana, and I don't know what he would do if he had to choose. I don't think he wants to have to make that choice, but Luciana definitely does not want to stay there. Okay, moving along, I want to talk about Strand because I think we talked about everyone else. Oh, one last thing before we talk about Strand leading into Daniel. There was talk at the end of the episode of a group of the ranchers people going out, and they were going out on either scavenging or I don't even know where they were out going, but they're like traveling out looking for stuff, probably just like how Troy's group went out looking for gasoline at that military compound. They have a group going out. The group has not checked back in, so now they're going to send out kind of a search party to double check that these people are actually okay. So we have a bunch of the ranch people, residents, going along with Troy, and Madison is the only I think she's the only woman that's going, but which doesn't really matter, but also she's the only one from her family that is going as well. And I think that because Travis was shot down by potentially these same people that could have taken out this ranch group, that is now missing. She wants to go out because she doesn't want to miss an opportunity to meet up with whoever shot Travis down, but also I think she really wants to keep an eye on Troy because she doesn't know what Troy's capable of. If Troy goes out there and finds a bunch of innocent people, he could easily kill them. So there's multiple reasons why she kind of wants to keep Troy under her thumb. Okay, moving along to Strand. Now, I just thought this was so funny because Strand, the only way that he knows how to survive is in this apocalypse right now is by still being the con artist that he has always been. That is who he is, and that is how he survives, and that is how he is still surviving. And he comes to this dam where he knows his friend Dante is, former kind of business partner. They probably stole money from people together, con artists, whatever. Now, it seems like Dante is friendly at first. Then he is not friendly anymore. He threatens to throw Strand over the dam. Now, he shows Strand an example saying, like, this guy was from the cartel. He did all these bad things. Now he has to pay. We don't have room for these kind of people in this world anymore. He throws the dude over the dam. The dude gets eaten alive in a pile of other people that he has thrown over the dam. Now he threatens to throw Strand over, and Strand is still trying to con his way into surviving because that is all he knows how to do. He's kind of incapable of being honest if lying will get him further. And it ends that Dante is now keeping him a prisoner, okay? And so he is Dante's prisoner, which is the last thing that he was hoping for, right? He was hoping to come here and get in good, get food, get water, get ahead of all those other people in line, and kind of mooch off other people once again, just like how he was wanting to stay at the hotel no matter what. Like, he sees his supplies and he'll do whatever he can to get them, which is kind of a good survival technique. But in this time now, you also have to have people that you can trust, which is kind of what Dante says. I can't ever trust you, which is so true. You have to have people that you can trust in order to survive in this kind of world. And unfortunately, when he left Madison and the rest of them behind, or when he let them go and he didn't go with them, he lost all of the people that sort of trusted him as much as they could. So he doesn't have that anymore. So now he's a prisoner at the dam, and the end scene is someone bringing him water. And I love how he drank all the water right then and there. And Daniel, when we see it's Daniel, I was so busy like going, oh my God, it's Daniel, that I didn't hear what he said. And when I rewatched it again, Daniel says, I knew you would drink all of it. And that is so true for Strand. He doesn't care if that was somebody else's water and they were offering him a drink. You know, he doesn't care if he doesn't have any more because he expects everything to be given to him. He didn't conserve any of that because he expects, he just has that, God, it's like an entitled kind of expectation. I'm probably not saying it right, but he thinks that there will always be more. He's very greedy, I guess. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say, but I'm hoping that you guys understand me. Daniel says, I knew you would drink all of it. And then he said something like, I told you I'd be your guardian angel, end scene. So I'm gonna do another quick video on next week's episode of Fear of the Walking Dead because I'm really, really excited about Daniel, and I have a couple things I want to talk about there. But that's it for my review here. I honestly, like, up until the end, I didn't really enjoy this episode. Now, I realize that we have to get to know Jeremiah, we have to get to know these new people, but quite frankly, I'm very tired of Fear of the Walking Dead going to a new place, it not working out, going to another new place, it's not working out, going to another new place. Like, it's starting to get really old. So I have to admit, I'm not that interested in the ranch. I don't really want them to stay there. It's just not really interesting to me. And the only thing that was interesting about it is realizing that Troy is kind of got all these issues because of his father, and we know that there is a darker side to Jeremiah than he first lets on. We also learn a little bit more about Madison as well, just in how she relates to him, and knowing that her past is a little darker as well. But honestly. Like everything else in this episode, by the end of the episode, when we were like 5 minutes out till the end, I was like, God, I feel like I wasted my time. I could have been doing something else. You know, I didn't really like the episode. And then we see Daniel, and of course that all changes. I'm so happy he is alive. And I hope that they give a really good explanation for it, because I'll admit, when they left us hanging with his death, and we kind of all thought he died, but then we weren't kind of sure because we didn't actually see him burn up. But he had lit a fire there in that kind of, whoa, is this like a winery storeroom with all the walkers? He lit that fire, and that fire came up under his feet. Now in the previews for next week, we do see him, and I'm trying not to get into that fully, but we do see him limping a lot. So I think he probably has a lot of burns, but it'll be really interesting next week to see hopefully see just how he got out. If not, see how he made it, you know, all the way here and what he's been through, because it seems like he's been through a lot. Okay, I'm ending this video now. God, I always say I'm gonna try and make it short, like a 5-minute video. I am incapable of doing that. This is 17 minutes already. I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.